So I just fixed my UHD Samsung Curve TV. The problem is that it needed a new power board, this guy, and it actually also needed a new motherboard. So I ordered both parts. Initially I wouldn't have any backlight on, which you can see through the screw holes that it's on. If I remember right, when you unplug the motherboard here, it's supposed to turn on the backlight if your power is okay, your power management, and then that means you most likely need a new motherboard. In my case, mine didn't do that. Also, when I tested it, it wasn't giving me a steady voltage. On my board here, my power board shows me here on off and power on, which both of those are supposed to be 3.3 volts on mine, and the rest of these you can see number 3, number 5, number 7, number 9, those should all be 13 volts. So the problem is one of the capacitors or something was bad in mine, but they weren't showing any apparent signs of being bad. So what happened was when I checked the voltage on them, they'd be fluctuating from like 8 to 12 volts, 8 to 13 volts, and like 2 volts or 1 volt to 3 volt instead of full 3.3 volts. On your TV, it might be, I think it's 5.2 volts. Just depends on the model you have. So I have my voltmeter here. I'm testing the cold side, so I'm on DC volts. Make sure you put your negative to ground somewhere, like on the chassis of the TV. Whatever. So most TVs I've seen videos for, this is a little bit easier. But with mine, it goes... also, make sure you're careful with what you're touching here, because these capacitors, as you can see, TV might only be like 120 volts, but these things hold 450 volts, and you want to discharge those before you mess with touching any of that. Otherwise, they could kill you. So, there's that. Anyway, on this... Oh, and to discharge them, of course, you do... Not going to do it now because it's plugged in, but short the two prongs you see on the bottom of the capacitors together with an insulated screwdriver, so it's going to jump out a little bit, so you don't want to be near it for sure, or obviously defeats the purpose if you're holding a metal screwdriver. So like on here, on this side, this is like 12 volts. The first one's 0 for mine. This should be reading 12 volts, which now it's getting a steady 12.6, not moving at all. Before I changed this out, like I said, it was going 9 something to 12 something, and then mine is like, I think top is 1, 2, and then 3 should be 12 volts. Yep. And then I think 4 was my on-off power, my 3.3 volts, and it is 3.2 actually, so yeah, it's getting the full voltage it's supposed to. So once I replaced the power board, all that I got, as I mentioned, was the backlight came on, but nothing else would come on. You can see the backlight's on through the screw hole. So after that, let's see, if you're getting backlight, I've read just that's what other people had to do, is change the main board since everything else is working. The T-Con board here I think is more of like display problems, like if you're only getting half a display or something like that. I'm just telling you guys what worked for me, what fixed my TV. So I replaced my main board once I was getting everything backlight but no picture or anything. So I just swapped that out. That's just these cables on mine pretty much only fit in one place, so unplug that cable, unplug that cable. Of course, make sure your TV is actually unplugged and you don't have power going when you do this. Unplug the cables down here. Just snap this one up and pull out the ribbon. It's just one of those little snaps like that. Probably shouldn't do that while it's on. Anyway. And then... Yep, definitely shouldn't do it when it's on. I just unplugged the T-con when I did that, so it went all haywire and messed up the display. So now we are golden, working TV on my Samsung Curve. I just wanted to share that, hope it helps somebody else. I'll post a link to the things I tried, what I had written down. I did a couple ones on like Reddit and iFixit, I think it's called. So I'll link those in the description. Good luck.